Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for tuning in to Hilaal Live. It's our program between 5 and 7:30, Monday to Friday. If you'd like to correspond with us on the email, you're welcome to send me an email, lukman@hilal.tv. So I thought it's getting into those colder days where we tend to hibernate a little more, stay indoors a little more, but let's try and get out of it. Let's try and get those fitness levels up. And I speak for myself first before I give advice to anybody else. And I thought, who better than to invite a fitness expert into studio to give us a little more advice? I'd like to welcome Asghaab. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, Lukman, to you and to the viewers as well.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Sure.
You've been in the industry for a number of
Yes.
years. I know during COVID you did some of those online video
Yes,
as well.
yes.
How did that work out? Are people still doing online, or have they now come back into the gym?
Shukran, Lukman. So I think COVID, Lukman, brought a unique situation to the world. It forced us to adopt new methods. And I think for most people, we came to realize that our health plays a big role.
Of course.
Going forward, we've been constantly being pushed by government, and when reading information that's been telling us, look after yourself, be conscious still of your health. But unfortunately, we were stuck at home.
Right.
We couldn't go outside. Gyms were closed, and so therefore I found it upon myself and like my peers in my industry to let's take our services to the home. So
Yes.
we started online services. You people going online using their cell phones, using maybe Zoom and Google Meet at that point in time, and we were able to then bring fitness to the people's space. So making
Nice.
sure that people could still exercise, move, and for some people also change their moods because it was a very morbid, sad time.
Of course.
So alhamdulillah, I was privileged to be part of that movement, and Lukman, alhamdulillah.
Awesome. So, I mean, it was so amazing that technology helped during that time as well. Asghab, like you said, we've all, been at home, things like that. But now we'd like to restart our regime, our fitness routine. We'd like to, get out there, or even at home as well. Take us through, and that can be challenging for some people. So what advice do you have for us?
I think, Lukman, if you look at the time of the year, now some people's going to say, oh, it's the middle of the year. Oh my word, I didn't start. Some people have thought, okay, they're going to stop and wait after Ramadan. It's already a month after Ramadan. So first thing I want to maybe tell the viewers is it's not to beat yourself up. You've got the intention. So maybe that's step number one. Let's start off with that. You have the intention to start. You have the intention to wanting to be healthier, to want to be fitter. So start with that. Let's elaborate maybe a bit more further on that and say, okay, I've got the intention to want to get healthy. So what am I willing to do? And then start from there. Second point, I think, Numan, is that let us not beat ourselves up and know that the year has possibly been hard for some people, maybe for ourselves as well. We've maybe been too busy at work. Our commitments have become a bit more. You've mentioned COVID. For some of us, unfortunately, we've lost work and now only getting back into employment again. So those aspects, as in not wanting to be too hard on ourselves, can contribute to our health and our fitness. So alhamdulillah, we're back now. We've started working maybe again, and now we onto the bandwagon of maybe looking at our health. So I would say that would be tip number 2. Let's not be too hard on ourselves, and alhamdulillah, let's start again the journey again.
I think that's so important that we are not too hard on ourselves, because we can. It's difficult sometimes getting that work-life balance, gym balance, things like that. So drawing up a schedule helps, I would imagine.
Yes.
A lot of people work from home these days as well, which means that their days are a little more flexible with regards to, they don't have to be stuck in an office. So that allows them to do a bit of exercise as well.
Yes, definitely, Lukman. And I think for most people, Lukman, we've been stuck at home, working from home. And some people are still now starting the journey of going back now to the office. I can only speak of personal experience, Lukman. My wife and their work and their industry are starting to go back again to work, and they adopting a hybrid system. So therefore, that has also changed maybe the way we've worked. Maybe we've been training at home. So now we're forced to go back into work now again. And that's maybe changed the routine a lot. So we maybe can't exercise as much as we did at home. We'll have to now work around traveling, sitting into traffic again. So those are, of course, things that we have to take into consideration when I say don't beat yourself up and don't be too hard on yourself.
Right.
Things have definitely changed.
Of course.
With that said, Lugman, I think the third thing that we want to then maybe do is when we're sitting down, reflecting, asking ourselves the hard questions, we maybe want to redefine our why again.
Okay.
And ask ourselves, okay, why do I want to do this journey? Am I doing it to want to get healthier? Do I need the movement? Do I need the exercise? Do I want to participate in, I know we spoke about earlier about the comrades.
Yes.
Do I foresee myself participating in an event like that now coming to the year? So maybe in this reflective time, we can actually sit down, redefine our why, ask those questions. Okay, I want to do this. Why? Because I want to do a race. I want to feel better. I want to maybe look better in my clothing. Also the roles that you play as a person. I know mine, and I can speak maybe for the both of us, we fathers.
Yes,
so,
yes.
We want to be healthy for our kids. So maybe it's not we want to be in shape, but we want to just be healthy for them. We want to be better versions of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So we can, of course, be of service to them, our children, and the greater community as a whole.
Of course. I don't have too much coordination, but my son started playing basketball.
Wow, nice.
So I try and, be there with him while he's playing. I get a bit of movement in the same time, not for too long. He's a lot fitter than I am. But things like that, take an interest, and I hear what you say, take an interest in our kids and the various activities that they can get going during this time as well. What other tips do you have for us, Asghaab?
So I would say, when we looked at redefining our why again, I think we also, when we go back to our why and we're setting a new plan going forward, we maybe want to be a bit more flexible.
Okay.
Maybe at times we were a bit too hard on ourselves. We were too strict and too stringent. So we want to maybe be a bit more flexible. We want to maybe say, okay, what is something that I can do that is very easy to do?
Okay.
And am I willing to start off small and slowly? For some of us, Lugman, it might just be that we need to start walking again, getting outside, being comfortable within our space, in our surroundings. I think it's going to be a lot more harder with the weather, but maybe then we can enlist the services of a gym, or maybe start a group, some sorts of being flexible.
That's a great idea, because, starting a group or a training buddy, that always helps as well, gives us a little bit of motivation, and one pushes the other. Because sometimes when, Cape Town weather can be really unforgiving sometimes.
Yes.
So if we see a cloud over our home in Cape Town, we stay indoors. It doesn't mean that you can't go to somewhere that maybe is indoors.
Yes.
A hall, a civic hall maybe, that allows that, and that, you can maybe speak to someone to use that. Playing indoor sports, for example, that could also help as well. But do you advise, taking on a buddy during this journey?
Yes, definitely, Lugman. I think that would be another great tip, Lugman, is where you want to find support. Now, be it, Lugman, that I work in the industry as a trainer, I think that's what I get paid for mainly, is to be a support system for someone. Alhamdulillah, I keep that person accountable. I keep them accountable to a certain program, a certain time slot, and try to remind them of their why that we spoke about earlier. Constantly refining and telling them, look, this is why we started it. Alhamdulillah, they will then leave that aspect of their training in my hands, and then I will then foresee as in what is suitable for them to do. Because we don't want to do too much too soon. And that can be sometimes the main cause of injury, also the main reason why we stop, because we may be doing too much too soon. So to answer your point again, everyone, if we can get the support of a trainer, if we're not by the means to do so, we can maybe get the support of a good friend, a friend that's already in the journey. Often steal from them. They may be already in their routine, in the habit, so we can speak to them about our goal, about our vision, and how they can maybe be of assistance to us. And they will therefore keep us accountable. So they'll maybe call us, they'll phone us, ask you where you are. I'm training today, come along.
Nice.
And alhamdulillah, we'll then hopefully play the role back at them. So when there are days when they're not feeling up to it, we then stand in that role and be the supportive role again.
Brilliant. I like that, supporting each other. That's what we're all about, building our community as well. A couple of minutes left. Do we have any other tips you'd like to share with us?
Yes, Lugman. I think the one other thing, Lugman, I want to tell people is that you want to be flexible to yourself, flexible and not be too harsh. But another thing is, of course, Lugman, set a certain goal. One goal. Be it one goal and keep it simple. Nothing strenuous, keep it simple. And then, of course, Lugman, we want to track our progress.
Nice.
We can use technology now. We have our watches, our apps. Keep yourself accountable to a certain goal, but then also track it as well. And using those systems, maybe even your clothing or a scale, I need to see, okay, and is it what I'm doing working? Do I need to be on it for longer? And who do I need help from to go to take my goals and see myself going further forward?
I like that. Goals are important. and measuring one's distance
Oh, yes.
and, getting to wherever. Say, for example, most people say, oh, look, I've got an event coming up, I've got a wedding coming up, or I've got a party coming up that I'd like to maybe look a bit smarter for, or fit into my clothes. So set those goals and work towards them.
Very, definitely, Lukman. And I think maybe the last thing I want to leave to the viewers, Lukman, is that for every person, their goal is different. An event, a function, a gathering, a school, a race, a sporting event. Redefine that goal, look at it, and then keep yourself accountable. Alhamdulillah.
Brilliant. Asghaab, Jazakallah so much for coming into the studio. We look forward to your next week's edition.
Ameen.
Have a great weekend.
Shukran, Lukman.
Afwan. And that's Asghaab Job on giving us some tips around getting a bit healthier, feeling a bit healthier, looking a bit healthier. Look forward to next week's edition. After the break, we chat to Yusuf Bites, a young man doing wonderful things in and around our beautiful city. You tuned in to Hilaal Live.